Am I the a-hole for turning over a video of a person who I caught cheating on her husband because I was surveilling her for a workers' compensation back injury? Hello all. I am wondering if you could give me advice on the situation and tell me if I am the a-hole. First, a little background on me. I have been a private detective in New York since 1996. Before that, I was a criminal investigator for New York City. I had been freelancing for an insurance company, conducting workers' compensation and accident investigations. I was assigned a case where the claimant stated that she had injured her back at work and could barely move or do anything without great pain. The insurance company provided me with her address, so I set up surveillance in a secluded spot with a good vantage point of her house, just in case she came outside to do any yard work or salt the driveway, as there was supposed to be a minor snowfall of about 4 inches. I was there from 5 a.m. until 7 a.m. when her husband came outside, got into his truck, and drove away. 10 minutes later, the claimant emerged from her house, dressed in a short red dress, a black fur-collared jacket, and very high heels, which, in my line of work, are called F-me heels. She walked without any sign of discomfort. She got into a low-slung black Camaro and sped off. I tailed her for an hour as she drove from Long Island to Queens to a motel near Kennedy Airport. When she arrived, she ran into the arms of a man waiting by the front entrance, and they disappeared inside. 2 hours later, she exited the motel and walked to her car, all while I continued recording. As she was about to get into the car, her male companion came running after her, yelling for her to stop. He was holding a small red piece of fabric in his hands and shouted, "You forgot these." She laughed, took them from him, and proceeded to kiss him passionately, during which his hand went up her skirt. After they broke apart, she got into the car and drove back home. 2 days later, I was at the hearing with my evidence. Her husband pushed her into the courtroom in a wheelchair. The insurance company's lawyer proceeded to play the video footage, including the panty incident. The husband freaked out, and the court officers almost had to intervene. Now, here is where I think I may be the a-hole. As the husband stormed out while his wife screamed curses at me and begging him to stay, I walked up to him and handed him a copy of the footage. Then I left. So, please let me know, am I the a-hole for giving him a copy of the video of his wife cheating, even though that was not the job I had been hired for? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole, and if you're going to cheat and lie, don't do it to 2 different parties at the same time. You'll get caught out. I wonder how complicit the husband was. I honestly believe he knew she was not injured, but had no idea she was cheating. Maybe not. If she was hot and heavy with her new guy, her back injury would have been the perfect excuse to deny her husband sex. That might explain some of his reaction. He probably knew she didn't need a wheelchair, but that doesn't mean he didn't think she was actually injured or impaired. Liar's gonna lie. Fair point. Oh no, you're not the a-hole at all. In fact, I think you did the right thing, as long as it was legal. It was legal. The workers' comp board and insurance company would not have given it to him, but I could since it was my work product, and I did not ask for money from him. I got paid for my work by the insurance company, so no double dipping. Not the a-hole. I have no issue with handing over useful evidence to a husband being cheated on, even if you had no obligation to do so. However, I probably wouldn't have helped that husband. He was clearly part of the insurance fraud. I'd have sold him a copy of the evidence if he wanted it, for a premium. Those criminals deserve each other. Believe it or not, I did not feel it was right for me to sell the video to him, as it would be double dipping. I did find out later that had his lawyer subpoenaed me, I could have charged for it, but then I would have had to show up at court too. I hate matrimonial cases. Next story. Am I the a-hole for robbing my wife's affair partner, which has now led to his divorce? I, 32, have been married to my soon-to-be ex-wife, Madison, 30, for 4 years. We are currently in counseling, but it is not going to work. About a year ago, I found out she was having an affair when I came home to their clothes in our living room and sounds coming from our bedroom. I lost it. I was about to grab my cricket bat from the front closet when I stopped to think about the consequences. I did not want to go to jail. Instead, I took all their clothes and left quietly. I went to a friend's house, but not before throwing all their clothes into a McDonald's garbage can. I turned off my phone and got faced with my buddy. His wife hosed us off in the morning. When I turned my phone back on, I had dozens of calls and texts from Madison. At first, she was scared because she got my updated flight information. Then, she was upset that I hadn't called her to let her know I was coming home early. Then she was freaked out, thinking the house had been broken into. Finally, she lost it when she figured out it was me. Her text just got more and more deranged. The guy she was with is 5 inches shorter than me and about 60 pounds lighter, so if he had taken my clothes, it would have been obvious. He ended up calling his friend to go get his spare keys from his house. Unfortunately for him, his wife smelled a rat and followed his friend back to my house, where she caught him leaving in oversized clothes. Long story short, she took pictures and now had evidence of his infidelity, which voided their prenup and cost him a lot of money. It turned into one big giant crap show. It took a couple of months, but my wife convinced me to try and forgive her. We started going to counseling, and we were working through things until recently. During a counseling session, she said that I was wrong for stealing his wallet, phone, and car keys. She claimed that his divorce was costing him a lot of money and that I should have handled it in a more mature way, essentially blaming me for his situation. I have never admitted to taking his stuff. At first, I was afraid he might call the cops. Then, I didn't want to give her ammunition in case she wanted a divorce. Now, I just don't care. I told her that her cheating was the real reason her boyfriend was getting divorced, and that I hope his ex takes everything. I am still not living at home. I have my own apartment, and I'm filing for divorce. Now that I know how she really feels, it is a slap in the face to hear her blaming me for his divorce. Not the a-hole. Can't believe she had the audacity to back him up after she betrayed you with him. Defending the affair partner during their marriage counseling session, if it's not the lion, the witch, and the audacity of this bitch. Hope he needs to unload in counseling about how he feels about the affair partner. The kind of people who betray their spouse are scum, those who lie to their partner and sneak around are dirt. Those who defend it afterwards are the most bottom-feeding of the lot kind of thing. Hope he hopes the cheated-on wife takes everything but his undies. Then smile sweetly and say, "But thankfully we're not like that." Not the a-hole. Cancel the rest of the marriage counseling sessions and get that divorce as soon as possible. Hopefully you're in an area where you can get restitution from the affair partner, and infidelity is considered grounds for an at-fault divorce. If she had stuck to her vows, she wouldn't be in this situation. Her defending him also proves that she is still in contact with him. I hope you are in contact with the betrayed spouse. She could help you by providing additional information and proof of the affair, including photos of affair partner leaving in your clothes. If you own the home and your name is on the deed, move back in and sleep in the guest room. Give her the absolute silent treatment. You do not want it to look like you abandoned your home. Install cameras if necessary. Get that divorce and be free. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to train my replacement after I was fired? I, 28 male, worked at my company for 5 years. I was good at my job, never had any issues, and even trained multiple new hires. A few months ago, we got a new manager, and from day one, she clearly didn't like me. No real reason, just constant nitpicking. Last week, I was called into a meeting and fired. No warning, no performance issues, just we're going in a different direction. I was angry, but stayed professional. Then came the kicker. HR asked me to stay for 2 more weeks to train my replacement. I laughed in their faces. They fired me, but now they expect me to help the new guy learn everything I know? No way. I told them I wouldn't be coming back, and they started panicking, saying I was being unprofessional and should leave on good terms. Now, my ex-coworkers are texting me, saying I screwed them over because my replacement has no idea what he's doing, and everything is falling apart. My old manager even emailed me, practically begging me to reconsider. Am I the a-hole for walking away and letting them deal with the mess they created? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Proper response is, after careful consideration, I have decided that I can be hired for contract work. As an independent contractor, my rate starts at 5 times your original salary, and I can send over it as service agreement. Please respond within 5 business days to keep this low rate. Note, for your service agreement, specify hours per day, days by date that you are available, and minimum commitment from the company for days worked. Have a minimum number of billable hours per day. Also have an escrow account that they need to pay into before work is done. Bonus, if they don't respond within 5 business days, your rate goes up. Include the expense of a lawyer and time involved in setting up an escrow account. Surprisingly involved process. 1. Hire replacement, have you train, then fire you. 2nd, fire you, hire replacement, have you train. They chose the most incompetent option. The company is not falling apart because you will not train your replacement. It is because it is run by morons, not the a-hole. I've seen this so often. New manager comes in, identifies the most competent and often most senior member of the team, perceives this employee as a threat they need to get rid of or to show the rest of the team that they mean business. The most incompetent option was chosen because there went no thought into this decision, only emotion and ego. Yep, happened at my old job, when instead of promoting our senior colleague, they hired from outside, and we wound up with a narcissist nightmare. She got rid of our senior colleague in a layoff, and then his top person as soon as she could work up any reason to fire him, and then myself. And the other senior-most person quit as soon as we could find new jobs, and one other retired a little sooner than planned due to all of this, taking all institutional knowledge with us. I'm still good friends with one person here, and she regularly tells me how much they're drowning in work over there that no one knows how to do. Next story. Am I the a-hole for getting my coworker fired after she kept trying to prove my service dog is fake? I have a medical alert service dog named Max, who helps with a serious heart condition. He has literally saved my life multiple times by alerting me before I pass out. I started a new office job 3 months ago, and everything was fine, until let's call her Karen started her crusade against Max. At first, it was small things. She would loudly announce, "Pets aren't allowed in the office," every time she saw us. I repeatedly explained that Max is a service dog, not a pet, and even showed her his documentation. Then she started telling everyone I was obviously faking because I looked too young to be disabled. Things escalated quickly. She would try to test Max by dropping food near him. He's trained to ignore it. She also reported me to HR weekly. But the worst part? She started purposely wearing strong perfume and spraying air freshener around my desk, knowing it triggers my condition. Max alerted 3 times in one day because of this. The final straw? I found out she was taking photos of me and Max and posting them in a Facebook group about fake service dogs, asking for ways to expose me. She even included my full name and workplace. I took screenshots and went to HR. They fired her on the spot for harassment and creating a hostile work environment. Now my inbox is flooded with messages from her friends and family saying I'm the a-hole for getting a mother of 3 fired over a dog, and that I should have just worked from home if I'm so sick. Here's the thing, I actually feel horrible that she lost her job. Her kids aren't at fault here, but she literally put my life at risk with the perfume stunts, and doxing me online was scary. It's not your fault she was fired. HR fired her for things she did. This is important, OP, and worth remembering or stating to the people who are coming at you. You didn't do anything except tell HR what she was doing. They made the decision that what she did was worth firing her on the spot. Her behavior had these consequences, not yours. Probably also worth noting that good employees don't usually get insta-fired. They get put on plans or verbal/written warnings to try and resolve the issue. It is highly likely she has pulled similar stunt before, and this was the excuse they needed to get rid of her. Don't feel bad. She certainly won't. I work for a hospital, and there are a large number of work offenses that will get you insta-fired. Posting medical information of other people on social media is one of them. She would do this to someone else if she hadn't done it to you. It isn't your fault she was fired. It's her own, not the a-hole. A cease and desist from a lawyer threatening to sue for reputational damages would shut everyone up. And that's why HR fired her immediately, to remove the company from liability. Last story. Am I the a-hole for taking my brother-in-law to small claims court for a prank? I recently took my brother-in-law to small claims court over a prank he pulled on me, and now my wife and her family are furious. I need to know if I'm in the wrong here. A few months ago, we were at a family barbecue. I had a few too many beers and fell asleep in a hammock with my shirt off. My brother-in-law, who was completely sober, thought it would be hilarious to fill my belly button with super glue. At some point, I must have touched it, because when I woke up, I had glue partially dried in my belly button and on my finger. We tried to remove it, but it was stuck. The glue had adhered to my skin, and when we attempted to peel it off, it caused some tearing around the edges. Unfortunately, my job's insurance has a $1,000 ER copay, but I had no choice. I had to go to the ER. They used a solvent and an ointment to remove the glue, and after everything, I was left with a medical bill of $2,253. I asked my brother-in-law to cover the cost since he caused the situation. He refused. After trying to resolve it privately, I took him to small claims court, and I won. However, he still hasn't paid. This has caused a major rift in my family. My wife is upset, and her family thinks I overreacted. So, am I the a-hole for taking him to court over this? Edit. The reason my wife was upset is because her brother was going through a divorce and between jobs. Everyone knew he did it. He even admitted it. He blames his ADHD. I don't want to garnish his pay. The reason I didn't try harder to clean the glue off myself was because I have scars in my navel from gallbladder surgery about 3 years ago. My mother-in-law has offered to pay the bill, but she is on a fixed income, and I would feel like an ass for taking her money. Of course, I'm the villain, and only my sister-in-law is on speaking terms with me. My wife is only barely on my side. She was the one who took me to the ER, not thinking it would cost that much. I figured blood is thicker than water. I didn't expect this thread to blow up. Not the a-hole. Go back and ask the courts to put a lien to force him to pay it. That, or they can garnish his wages. If he stole $2,253 from you, do your wife and her family think he should not have to pay it back? That's exactly what he did. He assaulted you and robbed you of over $2,200. Nail his butt. He might think twice the next time he pranks someone. Unfortunately, expect familial discord because of his bad choice. Yeah, yo, this isn't a prank. A prank is like whipped cream on his hand and tickling his face so he smacks himself. This is straight illegal. Not the a-hole. Your spouse should have your back. I absolutely agree, but I am a little curious about the background with OP and his wife. If he's getting so drunk at a family gathering that he passes out shirtless in a hammock, there's a non-zero chance that he drinks too much in general. Obviously, we don't know OP, so this is purely speculation, but if even his wife doesn't have his back, it may be the case that she's sick of him getting hammered at family events and thought the prank was justified. Don't get me wrong, nothing justifies what the brother-in-law did, but if the wife isn't that upset about the prank, then maybe she's at a breaking point with his drinking. Or maybe he just married the crappiest woman in the world.